Live from the IBC, this is Media Park Radio.
I love that song. It's really good. Tim, welcome. Tim Hanssen, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
CTO and founder of Graphlr.
Yes, I am.
What is Graphlr? Tell us all about it.
Graphlr is a startup based in Utrecht, here in Holland. And we make a sort of smart content management system for media and event companies.
So, and what kind of services and solutions do you provide within that software?
Yeah, so we have like two different products. The first one, you could say, is Prepper. It's
We're using it here.
Yeah,
actually.
you're using it here, actually. Yeah, it's a timelines management system for radio stations. So if you have, for example, a commercial radio station here in Holland, they use it for all their talks, all their interviewing, everything that is going in the rundown of a show, that's in there. And that is be combined with all those user engagements. So people text to the studios asking questions or responding to contests or that sort of things. All those interactions are merged into that timeline.
So you're bringing external information into the kind of working environment for a DJ.
DJs, producers,
Well, when do you have allow Twitter feeds in? And
Twitter
everything?
feeds, but it can also be apps or website posts, or it can be anything actually. And all those data is gathered and then presented to the DJ, but then like on a smart way. So if you get 10,000 messages in 10 minutes before some contest, you can have an algorithm selecting the best messages to use in the show, for example.
Right, okay. And so what problem were you trying to solve with that software?
Now, we started like just doing a better workflow. So then just like moving out of Google Maps and of Google Docs, and then so that you can have just one system with all those programs scheduled after another. But it also prevents that you can make two times the same joke about the same artist like 2 hours later, because the DJ will get a notification that's saying, okay, we talked about this track like 3 hours ago, and then this is set.
And how do you stop information overload? Because if you're doing this kind of job, it's very easy to suddenly get sidetracked and not stay on target.
Yeah, so that's why you have like algorithms, AI algorithms to support that sort of things. And that also helps when using the user content. So we get all those interactions, so that can be like what I said, like it can be messages, but it can also be like interactions like moving up the volume in the app when people are listening to the show, or switching channels, or all those different moments that people have on that timeline or listening to a station. We gather that and use that to make better recommendations live.
Now, are you a software developer?
Yes.
Is that your background? And how much of that code is your own?
I think like 5 or 10%, something like that.
So it's moved on a lot since you started the original version.
Yes, of course, yeah.
And you're based in Utrecht.
Yeah.
Is there a big startup scene there? Or how does that compare with what's happening in Amsterdam right now?
It is, actually. We are doing it, we are located in a sort of environment with like, I think 6 or 7 different startups doing all sort of things in all sort of different sectors. But it is. It's not that fancy as in Amsterdam maybe, but I really like it being in Utrecht.
And one of the recurring themes on the show has been about diversity and about getting, women involved in coding. How's that working for you? Do you find it
very hard? We have
really?
On our floor there are like I think about 200 developers, and I think there's just one woman. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
so it's really hard.
Yeah, that's bad.
And even because we are using graph databases, so that's a way we can do live recommendations on a really fast way. That's even harder to find developers.
That sounds really specific area.
It is really specific.
So tell us a bit about graph databases, because that's quite unique, isn't it?
So like if you get a normal database, it's that you have just rows, tables and rows, and they are linked together. But in a graph database, everything is like cut up in small pieces. You have like, if you would, example, have let's say a person, then the name of the person would be an object, and his phone number would be an object, and but everything he does will be an object, and all those objects are linked together by small relationships. So you can traverse those relationships with about 50 million times per second. So if you, for example, other product is using for events, so they have like a pre-registration for like big music events. You can do like all those people that want to buy tickets at 11 o'clock. We can put them in a queue, and then we can say, okay, the ones that are going to buy the tickets first are the ones with the most likes, maybe on Facebook, liked our post in the last 3 weeks, bought merchandise, I don't know, or been there 5 times. And you can all do that with like 500,000 people in a queue in like 3 seconds, real time.
Do you see that as being a massive advantage for your platform?
So if you would do recommendations in the old way, then you pre-compile all those stats about a person, and then you can do recommendations. But we can do that because we're using the graphs. We can get all those data, like 50 million, in just 1 second to do a live recommendation on the data. And then it can change like at instant when you add something in it. That makes it really interesting.
Oh, it sounds amazing. And I was going to ask about when you've launched a product like that, it's your own baby in a way.
Yeah.
You know, what's your dream for this platform? Do you see it evolving? Do you have like a roadmap that takes you out for beyond a year? What's your hope for the
I think what we are seeing, if you get to the Graphlr product, you can see that the radio stations are really changing from like making linear programs to being a brand with content, and helping them to bring that better to their audiences, and making that radio show more personalized to the one that is actually listening, because you can change music maybe, or you can do anything with it in a live stream. That would be really cool to do.
Do you see the end at some point where it will be fully automated, where there's no human being involved in the actual production behind the scenes?
I think that would be hard, because I think the thing is why people would listen to XML radio instead of using Spotify is because the content and not the music, because they can get that everywhere. So I think you need the human thing. But I hope the system will get it and help you find things that are not like the most suspected thing to hear on the radio. So it makes more interesting to listen to it.
But have you seen those kind of scare stories about AI picking up and being able to use machine learning to replicate someone's voice, and eventually there's no one there, it's just the voice? Yeah,
that could be a thing. Yeah, sometimes we already can predict what would be the best talk. So then it would be just a simple step to use AI to actually produce the sound and then just change it for you as a listener. But if you see how our stages at the moment, if you can see look to their engagement results, you can see that there are really massive points of where people interact with it. So then you see that this thing is what we heard together. And that still, I think, is one of the important things why people would listen to linear. Yeah, and is there a social element, isn't there, in listening? So, fundamentally, you're on your own when you're listening to a show like this, but you can talk about it. Indeed, and share information in real time about what you're listening to as well. Yeah, exactly, and that's something. If my show is different than yours, then that thing is gone, and then the question is then, is it then better than my Spotify account? Yeah, I guess that's one of the major challenges for commercial radio these days is why listen to the station? Music? Yeah, and how do you make that information more available? It's probably not the music I probably really want to listen, because then in that case my Spotify AI is better in predicting what I want to listen to than this radio station is. But it's the social thing that makes it a different goal. So in a nutshell, really, your software is allowing radio producers to make unique content by bringing together different social sources into an easy-to-use format right up in front of them as they talk. Yeah, you could say that. For now, it is that. Yeah. Is that okay? That's fine. Okay, well, look, thanks very much for joining us, Tim. It's been a pleasure meeting you. I've probably got one more question before we go into some music. This is my third IBC. How many IBCs have you been to? I think about 10. Okay, wow. And so I think I was here the first time when I was 14. Yeah. Okay, that's pretty good. That beats me. So, what from today's, what's going on today in IBC? Have you seen it changed? Is there anything that you would say is different today than the last few years? What's the most impressive thing about? That's hard. I don't know, Yuri. I see a lot of companies and a lot of things that are presenting really new things, and I think that's not really innovative. So I think that
Apart
a lot of
from
people...
your product.
No,
obviously.
but also from what you can do with AI and with recommendations and with graphs, and then you can see, okay, it's like repacked old stuff. And I think it's interesting that they still call it a broadcast convention, because I think it's changed. It's going to change from broadcast more to a media way.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely seen that too, how it's not just about the kind of traditional broadcasters anymore, or the broadcasting technologies. There's a lot of convergence going on between IT providers, software providers, cloud providers.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's here to try and show off how their products and platforms can support media.
Yeah, but the integration is... you don't see many parts of that integration
Not yet, no.
I think, on this convention. So it's also, you have like a hall full of people that are making camera products, and you have a hall full of people that are making cloud transcoders from cloud or something.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find something that is making it easy to use in an integrated way, I think.
Okay. Well, look, thanks very much for joining and chatting about your product.
Thanks.
Okay. And Pepper.
Bye.
Let's talk business op Nieuw.